Hello everyone, I'm Renown Zero. We are back again talking about how Ethan Van Sciver has gone full SJW. It's finally come full circle for him. He's finally fully showing who he truly is outside of being the usual racist that he is, because he claims to not be this. He claims to not be putting it out in the open, but you let him talk long enough and eventually they will expose themselves for who they are. And it's interesting that he would go around laughing or hoping for the downfall of the Rippaverse because some artists from a talent agency decided no longer to work with Eric, even though literally the next day people were clamoring in his DMs to work with him. And he's even got big names on the War of Separation #1 that just recently went live for pre-order yesterday, like Bart Sears, Wagner Rice, Joe Bennett, and Caden White. These are still artists that are working for the Rippaverse. So what are we really talking about here? Outside of the fact that even your trashy Ultra Warts and All is going to take until August of 2025 apparently to be shipped, even though it's old content. It's not new content. You don't really have to produce anything new. You just reprint it and send it out. And on top of that, you can't even outdo sales of books for that campaign, even with a limited series like The Great War of Separation. So what are we really talking about here? You're literally saying that, oh, the Riversverse is failing. You're laughing at him not having this talent from this talent agency work with him any longer, yet you can't even outsell a limited series as far as books. And the campaign just went live yesterday, so it's been, 24 hours, a little bit over, and he sold more books than you with that. And I'm sure Yaira #2 is going to outsell Cyberfrog 3 as far as total books sold, which is really the most important metric. I know you guys like to be all about the money and you guys like to pocket watch, but when books cost less, he makes more profit because the books are cheaper to produce. The books are cheaper to ship as well because shipping prices are down with the Rippaverse, and so he makes more money on the books. Well, Ethan is selling his books for 25 plus shipping, or even plus in price, and he's not even selling more books, so he's definitely not making more money because he's doing all the stuff himself. He's not getting these publishing deals or printing deals that Eric is getting. But let's get into this right here, starting with Yaira #2 pre-order collection, 19 days to go, 7,743 books. Again, that's more than Warts and All. So we had the Great War of Separation drop as well. So he's got two campaigns going on at once, Yaira #2 and the Great War of Separation. This is, of course, drawn by Jack Herbert and written by Chuck Dixon. And then you have, of course, Yaira 2 being drawn by Deborah Carita and written by the Saska sisters. So this one's at 3,225 total books sold with 76,187 in total sales. Again, more books sold than even Ultra Cyberpunk Warts and All. Reprinted material that you'll end up waiting close to August of 2025 as an estimated shipping date to receive your book in the first place, which is now the quote-unquote the actual complete edition, not the first Warts and All he sold. This is the now complete edition of Warts and All. So you have cover A, of course, drawn by the absolutely awesome Caden White. Cover C is Joe Bennett. Cover B is Bart Sears. And this one is Wagner Rice. So it's interesting to me how even me promoting other comics, like VK Chapter 1 by Mugen Lord, that's at 5,500 and 154 backers with 14 days to go, doesn't get as much light or as much hate. Or even Vaughn Coleman's book with Phenomenova issue 2 down to the core with 147 backers doesn't get as much hate when I cover these other comics. It's absolutely hilarious that people go after the quote-unquote Gooner books that that Tyler puts out. And shout out to Tyler Carpenter for watching my review for Bullet Assassin Living in a Fantasy World. It's live on the channel. It's been live on the channel for quite some time. It's funny how my haters notice it 3 days later. But it's funny that they never really say anything about these other books I promote. It's only the books that they're told to hate that they really give any attention to. So this was the post that Eric put out saying, for the sake of respect and professionalism, I will not name the agency involved. As many of you know, the Rippaverse has a mountain of projects coming down the pipeline for 2025 and beyond. This creates a lot of opportunity for artists. We recently started communication with a decently known Western comic book agency that manages a lot of solid talent. Some of this talent is very well known. At first, they were enthusiastic about this opportunity. This especially applies to those looking for work at the moment. We eventually assigned about a dozen artists on 15 plus projects. This included pencilers, inkers, and colorists for both covers and sequential art. Some of these projects had already kicked off. Today I received an email from the agency head that they are pulling all of their artists from their various projects. Why? Because, and I quote, they become conscious of some controversies. There's really no controversies. It's a one-sided beef with some fat, overweight, out of shape New Jerseyan who's a washed-up comic pro, has been in the industry for 30 plus years, and yet he's getting outdone in his own industry by a rookie. I didn't ask what those controversies were, and it is unimportant. There's no sense in trying to work with people that don't want to work with you. Though this delays several projects, I wish them well and will not do anything to spite them. I bring this up as a reminder to you all. We've seen a lot of success, but we are still up against it. Though the Rippaverse leaves us politics at the door, the individual politics of people like me, Chuck Dixon, and others will always be held against us. We all know what the quote-unquote acceptable politics are in the Western comic book industry, which is leftist politics. That said, some of it isn't just a left or right, left versus right issue. We always have people contacting and besmirching our business to our vendors, partners, and anybody that dares to say anything positive about us, which is literally fans, or even people that work for the Rippaverse. If you say anything positive about them, you're going to get attacked. Some of these will even claim they're anti-cancel culture. This is why we typically only contract and work with Westerns that are close in proximity. They're either already fans of the Rippaverse, like Michael Montaner working on Bloodruth, or they're professionals that know of and support our vision, like Gabe Al-Taib and Chuck Dixon and Mike Barron. They are mentally prepared to handle whatever will be unfortunately thrown at them simply because they work with or for us. Everybody else are Easterners and South Americans that are completely disconnected from a lot of the nonsense and cultural problems that plague Western entertainment, which are people like Joe Bennett, Deborah Corrida. Despite all of this, I'm Will Conrad. I look forward to giving some hungry artists these projects. The Rippaverse will continue to grow despite the challenges or hurdles. Let's be great. Now, of course, we had a clip from Student of God, shout out to Student of God, saying EVS is wrong, Glasshouse did not leave, of course not. Literally, Joe Bennett did a cover for the Great War of Separation. Like I said, he did cover C, which is the foil cover. You can read it just right down here. It says cover art, Joe Bennett, right there. And you even have Yara number 2, where Deborah Corrida is drawing the book. So what are we talking about here exactly? But Ethan showed us last night that he is completely invested in trying to undermine the Rippaverse any way he can. His celebration last night proves he is playing a zero-sum game. He truly believes if Rippaverse loses, he quote-unquote wins. You're not even winning now, EVS. You're literally faltering in viewers on your channel, subscribers on your channel, you're faltering in dollars made, and you're faltering in books sold. At least with Eric, he has a stable fan base that's constantly buying everything. That's kind of the point of a business. You want repeat customers, because if you knew anything about customer service, you would know that the best thing to have is a repeat customer, which is why you have people even in Marvel and DC or even independent comics where people will continue to buy the issues over and over again, starting from 1 and it keeps on going to 2, 3, 4, 5. You want people to be repeat customers, which is something Eric has established with the Rippaverse. You, however, have not had such success or anything close to that. You have people constantly saying that you're an absolute a-hole and people don't want to support you anymore because you're constant nonsense with Eric July and your one-sided beef. You have your own backers on your campaigns, like Rainbow the Brute and Cyberfrog 3, talking about how you should shut the heck up about Eric July and the Rippaverse and get working on your stuff. And now that you put out more pages of Rainbow the Brute that look like dog water, because of course your line art on that book in particular is terrible, and the only thing that makes it look even decent is the fact that you have Kyle Ritter coloring the dang thing. So let's go ahead and listen to these videos that were put out by Student of God.
Oh my God.
I mean, you can reach out to him. I mean, but would he say anything? I mean, I don't know.
Do I still have his email in here somewhere? Glass House. I do. Glass House, 2008. Hey, Dave.
So he's literally emailing Glass House. That's funny.
Let's see here. I'll blow this up.
Because it says right here, EVS celebrates cancel culture. EVS believes Glasshouse Studios has left Eric July, and this made EVS celebrate. Clearly, they didn't. Ethan claims he has known the owner of Glasshouse Studios for decades. He then emails the owner live on air to ask about the Rippaverse. He just so happens to find the email very quickly. Yeah, right? Well, I mean, honestly, he could search it through his contacts. That's not really a hard thing to do, but it's so obvious that he's an absolute SJW looking for anybody to be a failure or fail. Meanwhile, I've never said EVS should fail. I said he should shut up and work on his stuff and get his books out to his customers. I've never called for his failure. I've never called for his cancellation. Because even when he was being canceled from a convention, I defended him. So, and that video is still live on my channel.
Covering up my email, yes. Okay, hey David.
People are saying that EJ didn't pay. That's the whole thing here.
Sure, yeah, because random people in the chat are the people you should listen to. This is what's called pocket watching as well. This is what's called being concerned with another man's business when you should be minding your own.
Can you read what I'm writing, or do I need to narrate it?
No, I can read it. Everyone else can read it?
Yeah, just checking on something here. I understand Glasshouse was providing Eric July's Rippaverse with talent. I was considering hitting you guys up as well. You know.
No, you weren't. This is what's called concern trolling.
For old time's sake.
He's not being genuine here.
Eric is saying that his talent studio has severed ties.
He doesn't even name the agency. And again, I just showed you that Joe Bennett made a cover for the Great War of Separation, as well as Deborah Carita is still drawing Yara number 2, or has already finished drawing Yara number 2, because the campaigns go up when the books are done.
Is this Glasshouse or another studio? Hope you're well. The animation
What I really would like to know is when was the last time he emailed Glasshouse? Because if he hasn't emailed Glasshouse in recent years, this is just concern trolling at this point.
company
In my opinion.
looks amazing. Best.
That's that's also a bunch of bullcrap because they talk, bro. Oh, no.
Ethan Van Sciver. All right, let me go back here.
You're going right to the source. I mean, hopefully he gets back. And
Yeah, I mean that's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do about this because Eric, if this is true, Eric.
He literally said South America, bro. It's still people from South America are still involved.
Eric is lying. I'm sending it.
Which South America has Brazil. You know those supposed sweatshops that you guys claim that he's using?
I'm clicking send right now. I just didn't want to
Very cool.
share my emails there when they open up. So, oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Where's Horseman, guys?
wow.
Where is Horseman?
So they're going to be scrambling now to get these, I guess, dozen books out or even double. I don't know.
I mean, where's the Incredible Hulk on here? I mean, Incredible Hulk isn't even on this. Like, what are we talking about here, bro? So, this will be the site where they have all the people, right? If we're looking for Joe Bennett, which is probably who he searched up, right? If you go over to Joe Bennett, I mean, Joe Bennett doesn't even have... Bro, Joe Bennett doesn't even have the Hulk on here. I'm pretty sure he never added it in the first place. I don't think he ever added Horseman to his catalog. Because look, Alpha Core is not even on here. So you would have to have found this a while ago if that was the case. Because I knew that's who he looked up. But like I said, I mean, he doesn't even have the Hulk on here. He doesn't have the Incredible Hulk on here. It's just like the biggest thing he's known for. So I mean, why does this matter? The biggest thing that he's known for is the Hulk, right? He doesn't even have that on here. He does have Spider-Man, right? He has Spider-Man. He's got Captain America.
Didn't they say like a dozen books next year? Wow.
But again, like I showed you, Joe Bennett literally just did the cover art for the Great War of Separation for cover C. He did the cover art here. And he's going to be working on Alpha Core number 2. I'm sorry, I forgot to say headphone warning. By the way, Joe Bennett's a better artist than you. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Oh no!
You're a monster. Some of those.
Yes, of course, it did say Rippaverse before. Those were their credits. Holy
Yeah. They
Do they have any proof that it said it before? Because I don't think it said it before.
purged it.
Because again, it doesn't say the Hulk either.
I'm curious what will happen though. Will Joe?
So, like, let's look at another artist, right? That he's hired. Deborah Carita. I mean, hers doesn't have anything. Hers has absolutely nothing. I mean, hers doesn't even have the other stuff she's worked on, like Marvel stuff. She's still got Yaira stuff right here. I mean, she's still got stuff for Yaira on her Instagram page. All for Yaira 2 stuff. She has the calendar. She has the art book that she's doing. It's like, what are we talking about here exactly?
Bennett continue? Will Carita continue? I don't know. It doesn't look good. He did say we got to get some new artists. Didn't he say that? We got to get some new...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in trouble, no doubt about it.
You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, would Will Conrad also be on here? Let's see. Let's see if Will Conrad is also on here. This is Joe Bennett. I've showed you Deborah Carita. I mean, he's got Kane and White and Marcos. I mean, he could easily have new people do new stuff. Okay, Will Conrad isn't on here. Alright, so that's something. Will Conrad isn't on here. So, I mean, he could easily pull any one of these artists. But like I said, as well, he had Joe Bennett literally do a cover for the Great War of Separation #1. And Deborah Carita's drew #2 of Yaira. So, I mean, he's got Bart Sears as well. So, and again, the post literally says... everybody else are Easterners and South Americans that are completely disconnected. So, how would Joe Bennett or Deborah Carita be affected when he's literally telling you in the post that they're not connected? When they're South Americans, they're from Brazil. They live in Brazil, which is, I don't know, in South America. Like, even then, how are you this stupid, bro? How are you this stupid? I'm interested to see what your IQ would be on an IQ test, because this is literal dumb. It's literally in your face. But let's continue.
This is terrible. You know, I hate cancel culture. I really do. And
You hate cancel culture. You just laughed at Eric losing artists. Okay.
I think that the reason...
Sure, buddy.
You know, I wonder...
You hang around literal SJWs, and you've become one.
If, now I'm wondering, like, you know, the scandals associated with these...
What scandals?
Individuals. Deborah Carita, for example.
Yeah.
Wow. Where's that? That's Glass House Studios now. I know the guy who runs Glass House. I've known him for decades. His name's Dave Campiti. A former comic book writer, a guy who has been running Glass House. He decided at some point to manage talent. Like, because there's a lot of guys at the time, like Fabio Laguna types, who...
They're not a Western comic book agency, though.
who can imitate American artists, but don't speak English. And they're all in Brazil, and they're all willing to...
They're all in Brazil. Literally right down here. South Americans are completely disconnected.
Work for less than what an American will work for, but Dave Campiti speaks English.
He doesn't know that.
And he can sort of put them all in a stable, and he would negotiate with Marvel Comics to say, you know, this guy should get like an American rate. Like, he'd ask like Fabio Laguna or somebody, like, you know, presumably how...
Weren't they always saying that Eric was running Brazilian sweatshops and they were getting paid less Now he's basically telling you he was lying about that. Oh my god, bro. How?
How much money do you want to make? And he'd say, I want to make $200 a page. And then Dave could say to Marvel, he wants $250 a page, and then he'd be able to keep $50, I guess. That would be like his business model there. And then he'd manage all these guys. He'd go out, he'd send a portfolio.
But once again, you only sold 683 Ultra Cyberfrog warts and all, bro. And your campaign just went into in-demand. You're getting outsold in books by a limited series book. Make it make sense. And again, as I said before, I said earlier, it says August 2025. So it's going to take you 6 months to get a book of reprinted material that's already been done. Like, what? But then you have clowns like Eric Debunks saying this. Now you have an excuse. You can delay a dozen projects, hold them off for as long as you need to, and just blame it on this because you don't want to take any accountability for your actions causing problems for your company.
And you, Eric, have built your brand on commentary. I know you want to believe it's music. I know you want to believe it's your political stuff with Blade.
He's built it on all of those things.
I know.
And he's actually said it's been all of those things. You're dumb. Again, you are one of the biggest pocket-watching losers of Eric July, and you still don't know this.
All of these things that you think it is, it's not. It's commentary on YouTube. You were a YouTube commentator, and you started making merch for your fans. And now what's happening is that rubber band of merch that you've tried to build a business out of is about to snap.
No, it's not. Again, you have no proof of this at all.
It's about to snap because you cannot keep up the rate you're going at without gaining more customers. You need to expand your customer base quickly. We've all seen the chart.
Yeah, you've seen the chart of dummies taking the pre-order numbers of campaigns and just putting them on a chart and saying, look at the decrease even though the books are still sold after the campaigns end. The books still sell after the campaigns end. Why don't these crackheads and gay boys understand this literal fact that product continues to sell after the campaigns end? He's literally created mass print covers for each book to continue to sell after campaigns end.
You've all seen it. I'm not saying I know every single nickel, dime, and penny that's in your business, but I can't.
All right then, so why did you even make the first statement? Oh, you've seen the chart. So then what was the point of that statement if you don't know it?
Imagine that with all of these things lined up in 2025, that you want to continue at the rate you're at.
And you will.
I think you want to grow your company a lot more. And I believe that that really did depend heavily on this agency because that's why you're making this post.
No, it's not. Because he literally says none of the delays are going to be happening with any of the current projects that have been announced.
Otherwise, you would have never said anything. But now you have an excuse. Now you have an excuse. You can delay a dozen projects.
He's not going to delay any of the projects, in my opinion.
Hold them off for as long as you need to, and just blame it on this. Because you don't want to take any accountability for your actions causing problems within your own company.
He literally still has Mike Barron, Chuck Dixon, the Saska sisters, Deborah Carita, Bart Sears, Kanan White. Now he has Jack Herbert, Wagner Rice. He has Sebastian Chang. He has a lot of well-known artists and writers and talent still there. And majority of the stuff that was announced were basically for Mike Barron, Chuck Dixon, Joe Bennett, and Deborah Carita, and Kanan White, and Bart Sears. So, what are we talking about exactly? Most of the projects that were announced for this year are for people or with people that are still around in the company. So, what are you talking about, my dude?
It's the agency's problem. It's they're causing you a problem. It's not the stuff you did. It's not the things you did. It's the agent.
And then Bloodroof is drawn by a fan art contest winner.
Agency's problem for believing in their morals and ethics, even though you yourself have a code of conduct. You have an entire code of conduct that you talk about when it comes to your ethics and your values of the Rippaverse. And you would want people to respect that, even if they didn't work for your company. But here you are, basically using this agency that you won't even name, using them as an excuse for why your stuff's delayed. We don't even know if this is true. Again, we don't, like I said at the beginning, we don't know if this is true. It might not even be true. Anyway, he goes, this is why we typically only contract and work with Westerners that are close in proximity. They're either already fans of the Rippaverse or they're professionals that know of and support our vision. I mean, I thought that's what you were doing anyway.
Because he is. But as he says here, because of course this came out the day before, or maybe the same day that this stream or whatever was happening, because this post was put out yesterday, so I assume this was done on the 28th. Though I didn't plan this, I'm spending the front half of the day going through this mountain of artists that saw the most recent post, reached out, and they're ready to work. Shout out to all of you, and this is one of the more awesome things, the success we've been blessed with. It creates a lot of good paying gigs for artists in an industry that many feel needs to be rekindled. So he ends up having a bunch of people, and he even has Irene Strikalski cooking stuff up with him. Here it is. So somebody asked, does this delay any of the announced projects? We don't expect any major delays to the projects that have already been announced. You can expect a healthy amount of books and other cool things still being released this year. So he's already telling people there's not going to be any major delays anyway. Because again, most of the things that were announced during the Rippaverse showcase were based on stuff that already has teams assembled that aren't going anywhere. But as usual, even when I'm not around, my haters still continue to cry about me, bro. Like, no joke. My haters crying about me. Meanwhile, me for the past week. That was last week, where I was in Japan for most of last week. Here's Sturgis reviewing some of his reading material. Whoever accused him of being a gooner, you're wrong. I mean, bro, what's the problem with reviewing a book with a woman with big titties and a fat ass? Who cares? You just continue to show how absolutely homosexual you are. Tyler can only sell gooner bait in comics to weird perverts attracted to women from a 2003 How to Draw manga. And right under that, Tyler, again, shout out, he watched my review and took my criticism. Because again, I was in Japan last week, while all you clowns are crying about me that same week. And then you have other clowns who will literally take a post and try to cut off part of the post. So he cut it off right here, where I said I'm on vacation chilling, and it just says this fat, overweight, out of shape. I said, fat, overweight, out of shape weirdo still thinking about me. Meanwhile, you're a freaking furry. You're an absolute furry. It's weird. You probably have a lot of fun with JDA. It's crazy how angry my haters are that they have to cut off my post to try to get me to respond to them. I appreciate Hail the Lord for correcting the clown that turns out to be a weirdo furry, which is Lombardi. He's a weirdo furry. And I'll just show it really quick right here, where he literally cut this part off and just presented this. And as you can see, here's the full post of a bunch of weirdos. And I'll even go on to show that post. Right here. Eric July despises fat people, not in a fun way, but like in actual hatred. No, wrong. That is incorrect. As usual, you're lying because you're a loser and you get no and you're a EVS. Shouldn't that eliminate half his fan base or more? And then, of course, he tags me as I have him muted. I don't care. Being one of the ones attacked. No. Again, you're incorrect. And you're thin-skinned. You're a loser. You get no. You're a soy-fueled-based EVS. What Eric refers to when he calls people fat, overweight, out of shape weirdos, similar to what I do, is he's referring to the people who talk all the shit about him on a regular basis being fat, overweight, out of shape white people. And it seems to be the case every single time. Just look at you, just look at all the weirdos who follow EVS, the same EVS that's also a fat, overweight, out of shape motherfucker who talked about how the sizes that he sells out quickly are 3X and 4XL. So all you clowns must be some fat, overweight, out of shape motherfuckers when y'all are the ones buying 3XL and 4XL. Meanwhile, I'm the one buying large shirts because y'all the motherfuckers fat and I'm sitting over here buying large size shirts. But somehow I am supposed to be offended because he's talking about his haters, not his actual fans, when personally I don't care whether my fans are looking a certain way, whether they're skinny, fat, whatever race, sexual orientation, or creed they are. They are allowed to watch and view my content and buy merchandise from me. I don't care. Republicans buy shoes too. That's a Mark Wahlberg quote. But this clown's talking about, the Rippaverse is circling the drain, and he's talking about doing this to myself apparently because it's so gay. Like, you can literally pause the video and read this gay statement coming from these weirdos. Also, you don't get SNAP benefits if you work full-time, But you would know about SNAP benefits because you're literally on Twitter all day talking shit to me, and I don't care. I will make a video on it where my time is much better spent in actually monetizing it, rather than responding to you on Twitter. But yes, apparently the Rippaverse is circling the drain so badly that it made $3.7 million in book campaigns and sold over 70,000 books in the year of 2024. So year over year, the Rippaverse is making millions of dollars hand over fist. This year, 12 announced projects, was 14 announced projects, with 12 of them coming this year, not counting things like Rippazines coming out and anything unannounced that hasn't been shown off yet. But somehow the Rippaverse is circling the drain. Meanwhile, you have clowns like EVS putting up Ultra Cyberfrog Warts and All, and now new complete edition of Warts and All, selling only 683 books. Can't even beat the Rippaverse trinity of old material, selling close to 1,200 books. Probably more now. But apparently Rippaverse is circling the drain. Meanwhile, this clown can barely put out a campaign and barely make 100K without talking about, oh, the campaign's ending, and then he's sitting here freaking putting crap to fluff the numbers like the Elephant Mugga cover. Like, really? Well, what are we doing? Meanwhile, Yara number 2 has made more money than this and your last 5 to 6 campaigns before Ultra Cyberfrog Warts and All. So, what are we talking about here? Why are clowns literally sitting here talking about how something's circling the drain? Meanwhile, he's making millions, ignoring you losers, and I'm on YouTube monetizing it. So, it's like, what are we really talking about here, bro? What are we really talking about? 2024 was Riversverse's most successful year. Thank you to all of the fans that helped make it happen. 2025, we continue to strive for greatness. And honestly, this right here, this would be a dope poster to have. Right here. This beautiful artwork, penciled by Kanan White and colored by Marcos. This looks absolutely fantastic. And don't forget, Kanan White is drawing Saoirse when that book series comes out. I know this was a long one. I appreciate y'all for being here. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit that like button. Comment below what you feel about all this. Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you get a notification anytime I post a new video or go live on this channel. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.